You are listening to Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda. This podcast is brought to you by Know the Self Mystery School, activating men and women to live with purpose. It was created with the sole intention to release toxic shame, illuminate our shadow nature, and expose the mysterious entities that feed off your most precious life force, your sexual energy. The mantras we sing in the beginning and end of each episode are ancient Sanskrit prayers to invoke the brightest light of truth and to liberate us from our fears. To learn more about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, visit knowtheself.com. Let's dive in. Right after my awakening, I lost all my money. My partner, he lost all his money. Both of us were dirt broke, and we were deciding to live off of barter, and we were kind of couch surfing. I mean, mind you, we did have we knew a lot of wealthy people who had second homes and things like that. So we were living quite large, but we had zero money. We just had enough for food and living on credit. And we started to get back into things after the Kundalini explosion. If any of you have had a Kundalini awakening, you know the first thing that goes is your finances. And so we were in that process, and I started doing these manifestation mantras to Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. And my husband, he knew how to buy used cars really well. So I needed a car. And so he bought me a Mercedes. It was this gold Mercedes, and it was spotless on the outside, but it was one of these titles that, what is it called? Salvage titles. So it had lost its value because I guess it was in an accident. I don't know. Anyway, he got the Mercedes for $1,500. It's literally the cheapest car we could buy, but it was gorgeous. And it looked like a newer model, like a 5-year-old Mercedes sedan. So he gives me this gold car, and I called it Mahalakshmi. I put a big Lakshmi sticker on the back, and I was cruising I am in abundance. But I had never driven a Mercedes before, and I drove to go pick up a friend of mine in Oakland in the East Bay. And I'm waiting for her in the parking lot, and some neighbor gets out of a nice newer truck, and she gives me a dirty look. She just gives me this glaring look what are you, rich girl, doing in my neighborhood? And I was so shocked, and I was like, oh my God, she's doing that because of the car. And then she walked by, and I rolled down the window because I wanted to say something to her, because I wanted to say hey girl, no, I'm like you. This is just this is just my new ride, I rolled down the window, and she looks over at me, and she's like, nice car. And I said, yeah, you want to know how much I got for it? And she's like, oh, 20 grand, 30 grand. I was like, no, but it is cheaper than your truck. And she's like, then she changed. Her whole face changed. She went from looking at me like this horrible rich girl that was in the wrong neighborhood to wait, what's your secret? And I said, no, it was only $1,500. And she fell over, and then she just started chatting with me, and all of a sudden she was wanted to be my new best friend. And I was like, that was so fascinating. She went from hating me and looking at me like this horrible rich woman in the wrong neighborhood to what's your secret? I said, do you want to drive a Benz? Would you drive a Benz if you could? She's like, yeah, I can.
Oh gosh. Well, and when you so you being a spiritual teacher, and tell what we were talking about earlier about how you started using F-bombs.
Oh yeah, I did that on purpose.
Because people were like, oh, she's so whatever.
Yeah, the minute I started teaching, it wasn't really something I wanted to do. I was asked to do it, and it kept coming up again and again. And I found myself, on stage number of times, and I kept hearing in my meditation I was supposed to teach, but I thought, well, someone with my background, with my past, like I can't be a spiritual teacher. And I started to teach, and everyone just started treating me like, I don't know, like I was a monk and some holier than thou thing. And it started feeling really weird and disjointed. Like, I don't think they really see who I am. And they're putting me on this pedestal that felt really weird. Like at any moment they're gonna like throw eggs at me or like knock me down. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna be myself. And I started throwing F-bombs. And that that really shocked people. Like, why is she swearing all of a sudden? She's so angry, and she's, you know, what has gotten into her? She's possessed or something. I'm like, no, I was always like this. Like, you're only seeing what you want to see. You're just seeing, yeah, maybe in certain times, I don't think that we should just swear all the time, or I don't want to be throwing F-bombs all the time, but sometimes I do. It's really effective to just shock people out of the conditioning and the box that they're putting me in. And that's really why I was doing it. It's like, stop putting me in that box. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to shift your reality, because all these stereotypes and labels you're giving me, they're too limiting for my spirit. It felt suffocating.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those experiences too. It's uncomfortable. And I've also done the same thing with the F-bomb, because a lot of time, well, okay. And of course, the F-bomb can be,
you should never say that.
The F-bomb can be completely misused, by very sick people even, or just, it can be a sign of sickness, but also it can be a spiritual path. Like it can be a spiritual growth. I'm not kidding. Like, because it's true. Like I've had to do the same thing. I mean, I've noticed, even just to get closer to somebody that I've just met, I'll drop an F-bomb, and it instantly kind of like, depending on who you're talking to, but it can develop instant rapport.
Like when you said, don't put me in an effing box.
Don't put me in an effing box.
Now we're like embarrassed to say it. Sometimes we say it in here on accident, and now it's like, I feel very shy. It's not the appropriate moment.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, but not use it. No.
Yeah. And what about the story about the soccer mom story?
Oh yeah, that was so funny. I was teaching one of my first classes in the mystery school to Americans, and I remember it was these like younger millennial girls, and they were super hip and a little bit punk, and I thought that they like got me. And I had just come from India, so at that point, my hair was long, I was dressing more calm. Ever since I went to India, I had to change my whole style. Before living in San Francisco in my 20s, I was a total cyberpunk. I had piercings, punky hair, crazy cyber clothes all the time. And then I moved to India, and I had to like release my fashion style and become sort of this like bohemian chic Indian thing. And so I came back to the Bay, and I was a little confused about my style. Like I didn't really know what to wear. It felt sort of awkward, but I was just like, well, I've been stripped of all my, fashion icon style, and this is just like plain Jane me. And at the end of the in one of the classes, I was telling them about my cyberpunk, an experience I had in that time of my life. And she saw she's like, can I see a photo? And I showed her a picture of me, and she just freaked out. And she's like, oh my God, Amelía, I totally had you pegged as a soccer mom. And I was like, wait, what? First like mom, and then soccer mom? Like you saw me like married with a picket fence and kids in a van and like going and dropping kids. Yeah, I totally thought that's who you were. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I gave her the hugest hug, because it was kind of like I had achieved something, because all my life I was outcast as a freak, as a punk, as too extreme. And I felt like I had finally graduated to normalize myself, that normal reality could embrace me, like normal people could embrace me. And here was this punk rock chick calling me a soccer mom. It was just like, it was the most comical moment. Like, I wasn't offended at all. I was like, oh, I did it. I finally succeeded at normalizing myself to the point of soccer mom. So,
and then you shaved your head a couple years
yeah,
later.
and then I was like, I don't like the soccer mom. I am a punk. Don't put me in a fucking box. And then there's Satya, who used to have like blonde hair.
Then I had red hair.
Do you like Jennifer?
Yes,
Jen.
I had,
Jen.
yes, very blonde hair.
Jen doesn't swear.
I've had different hairs.
And Jen does not swear. Jen's a good girl. And then she dyes her hair, cuts her big, and wears black. Watch out.
Oh yeah, I did wear white, all white from head to toe for a while. Yes, but one of the things that I loved about you the most was just that even though you were a spiritual teacher, you were nothing like a spiritual teacher, and that's the whole reason why I remember when I would go to India and I'd say, oh, I'd come back and say, oh yeah, I went to India for a few months. People were like, oh really? Who did you study with? What did you? And I'm like, I wasn't there to see any damn gurus. I was just there. Like, what, you think I go to India to like worship a guru or something, you know? But anyway, just the fact that you were always so grounded and so like nothing like what you would think of as like, that's the reason why I was even able to digest like your, like, you know, your who you are and be able to listen to. I can't even listen to hardly any other, like I can't even, my dolphin sonar just shuts down. Like you're the frequency of like I can't, but you but you thought things about me. You were like, you've said things that you thought I was like, okay, I'm an anomaly. Is that what
she is? An anomaly. She's not what she seems. There's so many layers and levels and mysteries and always a moment of wow. Yeah.
Amelia thought I was like, what did you think I was?
I'm too embarrassed.
You thought I was dangerous.
You are dangerous. She brings out the naughty side in everyone, but it's in such a sweet, innocent
but
way.
I'm like, yeah, I don't even mean to do it. And then you're like, you're doing this. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm not even thinking that.
It's so cute. And then she's like, but I no.
Remember that time when I was at my neighbor's house and amazing people, and they were like, oh, let's have like a cocaine party, like, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun, because like I've never done cocaine. Like, I don't know what is that. And so I was like, oh, I just had the best time at my neighbor's house. I just love him so much. And like, you know, so he said like, oh, we're gonna have a cocaine party, and you freaked out on me. You were like, you thought I was
like, what? You do cocaine? Like, this is not, you can't do that. You're out of the school.
I was like, wait, what does that mean? Like cocaine party? Like what? And you're like, no, cocaine parties are like people have sex with each other and they like things. You were telling me that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Oh my God, no. Like, I didn't know.
You were
I seem like I'm some like, but I'm not. I'm just Jenny from the block.
She's just Jenny from Bakersfield. Yeah, we are all anomalies. I wonder if all women are so multi-layered and faceted, but
do you think it's my breasts? I think people put me in a box because of my breasts. I really do.
Yeah. Sure.
I've got big ones and I have a small body, but I have the smallest breasts in my whole family, just for the record. Very much smaller than the rest of my family.
She's kind of obsessed with them.
I am not.
Everybody
We're
else
gonna cut this out anyway. It's fine. No, but I do. I feel like I have felt a little put in a box about that.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially as a blonde.
All of it.
So now she's not.
The way I look, I am put in a box.
I
Don't
had
put
this-
me in a fucking box.
I think they heard that. I remember when I was in my 20s, I used to get so like have this need to constantly keep people on their toes. So I would change my hairstyle and hair color a lot. And people who knew me well wouldn't recognize me. And they would, you know, introduce themselves to me. I'm like, it's me.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
I have changed my look, but I never thought about like keeping people on their toes. But that, yeah, I guess if you feel put in a box, that's a good one.
Well, it makes people very uncomfortable when you're not what they think you are. And I honestly think this is kind of it's a problem. Like even if you're close to someone, whether it's your best friend or a family member or your partner, like don't assume you know everything about them and they are who you think they are. Like let them surprise you, let them be mysterious, because I think that's what keeps us actually engaging and seeing the whole person and not just assuming like they're this limited scope of a person. But even like a career, like if you I don't know, like if you're a fireman for your career, you're not allowed to be a violinist or something. Like that would be sort of like, oh, you're a violinist, but no, you're a fireman. I don't like boxes. I say let's bust the boxes. I'm curious if you guys have felt that you've been put in a box, which labels you don't like or feel like you've outgrown. I mean, we get put in all kinds of boxes, like from our religious beliefs, our spiritual beliefs, our political beliefs, obviously. Like we had a whole episode
let's
on
stop
that.
Putting each other in boxes over that, please.
Like just because you don't want to wear a mask doesn't mean you like Trump or support him or agree with him. Could be for a totally different reason.
Or just because you wear a mask doesn't mean
you're liberal.
Yeah.
What are the other things? I mean, so many things. Anyway, tell us in the comments, you guys, what boxes you're sick of being put in. Maybe it's even your name or your family or your social status. So let's bust some boxes.
Yes, bust the box.
Bust a box. See you next time.
Bye.
To learn about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, you can find us on social media at Know the Self or visit our website knowtheself.com. See you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you'd like to contact us and stay in touch with us, you can find us at lovesexagenda.com. That's lovesexagenda.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda.